Hey there, kiddos. I'm back. Did you miss me? I was gone for like 3 minutes between the broadcast that's got the same description on it, or title, I should say, versus this one that I decided to put in as post to say, hey, gotta say some more stuff. Only because I clearly didn't know what I was talking about. Uh, First off, the I follow card here that I'm showing, I've had up on offer in the auction house more than a few times. Not just because I'm trying to get rid of it, but this was you know I guess says I got it on the 18th, so it was really the 17th. So about like 6 days ago or whatever when I got this, it was the card that I chose from the pick one of three choice free agency packs or whatever. And I don't think there's anything really wrong with the card. I have no problem having it on my team. Although I'll show in a second why it has just been impacted by the fact that I now have that untradeable Jamie Alexiak card. Um, but because it was a card. This card here with Alex is not one that I felt like was something that I had to have, and what people were getting for it was kind of close to how much I was hoping for to be able to get something else that I wanted on my team that just fits better with kind of what holes I have, which you'll see in a second. Um, but unfortunately, specifically what he was going for was a little bit less than what kind of I needed to add on to the coins that I already have to be able to get the card that I wanted. Again, that was like a week ago. I'm not really playing anymore to the point where I almost completely forgot what my lineup was looking like at the moment, and pardon me, and so um, I'd have to see now what price he's going for, and if I feel like still selling him because he is one of the better tradable cards that I still have that I could be willing to part with for the right amount of coins. But I have no idea if in the course of the last week if the auction market has completely tanked towards prices where prices are maybe half of what they were last week. That sort of stuff would be kind of annoying for me as far as trying to get any value out of this card if I wanted to sell it, but would be not that annoying for me as far as if I was going to be a net buyer versus being a net seller. Then clearly prices tumbling would be great for me. I could suddenly get some amazing cards for next to no coins. But either way, here's his stats. You see that he's a two-way forward centerman, but uh, and his shot accuracy is not terrible at 92 and 91, but shooting left-handed means that with my squad, most of which or maybe all of which I'll show you in a second, he just doesn't have a place on my team as a forward. Um, Even if depending upon how I fill out my four centers, um, and usually that means that at least two, if not three or four of those centers are going to be left-handed, and therefore would be players like him that that are not going to be being put out on the wings. So his face-off is 89, and he comes to face-off master, and that 91 or maybe even 93 face-off stat definitely could have been good enough for me to have played him, as a center throughout a good portion of the year. Even towards the end of the year, he still could have been a third or fourth line center for me if I'd wanted to do that. But current setup, I do not want that at all. And then also the point that I was making is that would then put him out on a wing, shooting left-handed. I just don't need him to do that. I've already got four extremely solid left-handed wingers, so that puts him over on the defensive side where I am pretty lacking, and he was doing a decent job of filling in there. He wasn't slotted into my team when I just went into it a second ago again because I'd put him up on offer to sell a little bit higher than market value, like not crazy, like at most like 5-10K coins above what everyone else was getting for him. Um, and so it was in my inbox instead of being in my collection. But I just dropped it into the collection right before opening that pack with the Alexiak, assuming that I was just gonna I was gonna toss him onto the team if I was gonna play a game or something, which I'm not doing. Um, and Yeah, so you see there's his stats. I could probably justify having him in. Having a left-handed shot means he'd be playing as a right defenseman, same as Alexiak, and yeah, at the moment, I'm not sure if I really want to slot him in. Instead, playing him as a and I'm not because again he shoots left-handed. Chelios legend card first to make this 99 if I ever want to see it on the team. But in fact, the Chelios D3 spot, and you can see that's where Alexiak is chilling now. If you don't know from these cards, I can click on each one and show you. But Barrett, Kyra, and Alexiak are all left-handed, whereas Jordan Subban and Klus are right-handed, as is Chelios. So here are Chelios' legend base stats. Pretty decent again on the speed, and the shot is mostly weird in that the slap shot power is the best, and then slap shot accuracy is technically second best, tied kind of with wrist shot power, and the wrist shot accuracy is weak. So even as an offensive defenseman, it's kind of a strange mixed bag with him. But I think that I could make a case for going with basically this exact lineup and having an actual right-handed shot over there on LD1, or opting to bring in I follow because again he's left-handed, and now as you can see the three guys that I've got over there on the right side with the left hand, now that Alexiak is in there, it's kind of pick 'em in my opinion of whether they're better or not. So I was wrong, which is the main reason why I wanted to jump back on here. I had said that my front six were 5 out of 6 99s, and that the player in the left wing 2 spot was a 96, and that was JT Compher, and that was because he shoots right-handed. Well, there's front line 99, second line 99, third line is actually where the JT Compher comes in at 96, and the other two are 99s as well. So I'd kind of forgot how I had set this up because again I hadn't really been playing, and not that it necessarily matters, but the Sakic and the Messier are kind of for me. I could go either way, putting either one of them as my front line center, depending upon whether it's a game in which I feel like a card such as Messier, which if you look over there on the far right side, has a base face-off stat of 99, and these things do not go above 99. And then you can have other synergies that add to that as well if above 99 was an actual thing, which it isn't. So max face-off stat, still very capable of losing face-offs with him, to the point of basically losing every face-off that he takes, versus the computer, on whatever the third row is. I'm already thinking in terms of MLB numbers, so I know over there it's rookie, veteran, all-star, legend, Hall of Fame, I think is the 5 over there. So over here I think it's rookie, the hell is it? It's rookie, I don't know, is it like veteran or rookie, semi-pro, pro, and then superstar, all-star maybe? So anything, basically, even on pro, Messier's can lose every face-off for me, and then the two that are above that, certainly you can lose those as well. And then under this current setup, it seems a bit strange, but it's just based off of how my team is working and the fact that I was playing plenty of games in which my fourth line wasn't that important. Um, when I did the Kanoye first, and then came around and ended up doing the Howard Chuck as well, and was it took about like, I don't know, probably at least an hour and a half or so talking about which one of the two I wanted most, thinking that I wasn't sure I was going to get a shot at being able to do the other one if I did after I did the first one. But as you can see, I finally got a chance to do both, and that's great for me. So even when I have this setup like this, where I'm not putting in the plays of the year Barkov, so that my opponent doesn't, just automatically look at kind of the front line that goes up against them and decide to just quit the game, thinking that they're going to be playing against, a player who's as good or better than them and has a team that's better than them. I don't. Most people that I would go up against who are still playing, they're going to either have, it's going to be the whole gamut, I guess. There's going to be players who have better squads. There's going to be players that have kind of equivalent squads, and I guess there could be some that have a little bit worse. Hard to do though, because this team is basically terrible. And then you compound that with the fact that I am horrendous at the game. That it's very easy for anybody to kind of come up against this squad versus me and get a very easy dub. So the whole thing with Howard Chuck specifically, or you could say with Kanoye and Howard Chuck combined, they're both left-handed shots. And I think that in the end I opted to just go with this as a setup because I had just recently upgraded the Howard Chuck, and so wanted to see more ice time for him, which is not as easy to do because Messier's card comes with an 89 endurance. I don't know if you saw that. I clicked on it pretty quickly. I've said this in previous broadcasts, but that 89 endurance for Messier means that, especially in any lengthier game than say like 1 minute periods, I'm going to have to be remaining aware of when I am controlling Messier, so that I don't use the speed burst or slash sprint or whatever frequently, because it'll burn him out. And once he gets burnt out, that's going to take this whole front line off of the rotation. And so that means in this particular case, I'd be losing the 99 Kanoye and Howard Chuck from being able to play simply because their center is out of gas. I know it doesn't play exactly like that for the entire game. Some players can be on or off the ice, not necessarily at the same time as their line mates. And I'm not talking about on special teams, just straight away 5-on-5. But generally that can happen. And so long term, I'm not sure that I necessarily want to have Howard Chuck as a left-handed shot over there on the LW1. But this is how I set it up for two main reasons. Well, three main reasons. One was that I just wanted to see the Howard Chuck card play more frequently. While I was seeing how I felt about the card, I played a few with the Kanoye and felt like I had a pretty good sense of it. Kanoye is natural position is right wing, and Howard Chuck's natural position is left wing. I think a lot of us have seen that does not matter much at all this year. Maybe it will for 20. So that was another reason why I thought, okay, well, whatever. I'll just let them play their natural positions for a little while. But certainly having that front line be left on the handedness has to make me change my approach towards how I look at, even from the puck drop, the initial hopeful surge after winning from able to win the face-off, the surge into the offensive zone, and playing from there. Long term, I wouldn't expect that I would have kind of any left-handed shot as my first left winger, as I do prefer generally to play inverted versus standard. And so what happened was, you can see Hemsky is a natural right winger, but he's a right-handed shot, so he's more more natural there. And again, Sakic for me is kind of pick 'em between him and Messier, and um, I would be fine with having him play either one of the center positions. They're both left-handed, so that is what that is. But the issue is that the Tavares also left-handed and is basically pretty much as close as you can get to a max card, especially for a current player and not one of these new Legend 99 upgrade cards. So because of that, that meant that when I got Howard Chuck, initially he would have been in the right wing 3 spot, but that's also tough to do because Modano's card is also pretty much max as well. So unless I was going to play Modano as a center, and as you can see with Makita, Sakic, and Messier, it's like, all right, which center position do you want to play at? Plus, his face-off stat is quote-unquote only 93. It gets some boosts, sure, but you compare that to, say Makita, whose base stat is 95, and so therefore becomes a 99 with the synergies. It's that much better off, and you can kind of tell probably what's in the background there. That's the legend Nieuwendyk, and he's also beating Modano as well. And I don't know that I'd really want to have Modano playing as my 4th center unless it was in some sort of mode in which my 4th line was getting a ton of action, because I guess the first 3 lines had been gassed, and so the 4th line was out there and then just kind of stayed out there. Then sure, okay, then I'm playing Modano on the 4th line and he's fine. But as you can see with Modano, Tavares, and Canoyer already, Howard Chuck, when I first got him, it was like, all right, do I want to play him as my 3rd line right winger, or do I want to play him as my 4th line right winger? Without even showing you the card, you can kind of see that that's not a 99 back there on the 4th line right wing. So Howard Chuck's card is better than that card. But for being somebody who I wanted to kind of test out and see how he played, it didn't make a ton of sense for me to drop him down onto the 4th line. And in doing that, that would have put Hemsky on the front line, left wing, and Comfer on the 2nd line. So that was why I was confused about that when I said it. So as you can see, clearly I've got right now technically my front 6 99s to go with the 3rd line being 2 99s and a 96. So if all it was that I cared about was 99s, I've got a decent amount of them, even though I'm currently playing none of them on defense, and I don't have any defensive 99 overall cards at the moment, which is why I like the big-bodied Alexiak that much more. But as you can see at the moment, based off of the more important things to me of skate and shot, it's putting him on the blue line. If I were to play a game, I would probably opt to put the Afalo in for Chelios, whether on the front line or not, and move the right side around a little bit so that Alexiak would be playing at least on the 2nd line, if not the front line, just to see how I feel about how that card is playing. So as you can see, even though I don't have a true endgame team, I'm really kind of just 1 or 2 away from having a pretty much endgame team, and can maybe be a little bit lacking on my blue line and my 4th line as well. So that would then mean I'd be about, I don't know, 3 or 4 probably cards after that to get a full endgame team of your front 12 plus back 6. Obviously not quite there yet, and as I said, if the auction market has taken a shit and completely dove down, then if you can get some 99 cards for like 10k coins, then I might opt to go ahead and buy those even before this last 2 weeks when the game completely dies and everybody has switched over to NHL 20. So that for sure is going to be it for me now, because I have nothing else to add for NHL 19 for today. As I said, if I am around, maybe I'll do the opening of whatever I get from the competitive seasons when they finally process those results. So that's gonna be it for me for now.